Okay, Dr. Lamb, I've made you the host so you can pull your things, whatever you need up.
All righty.
I've already started recording on this end so I wouldn't forget.
All righty.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Okay.
How are you?
Hey, everybody. Dr. Lamb, Dr. Hamilton, and Dr. Revis are both with us. I see them already.
Good. 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 Sounds like folks are joining.
Yeah, we are. Helen, can you hear me? If you can, unmute yourself. She may not. I saw her picture. She must have walked away. Okay.
Dr. Stedman or anybody really, I have a question about scheduling Zoom meetings.
Okay.
I did that today for our Zoom team and we were shooting for 8:15, but does it only allow you to schedule on the hour and half hour?
Half hour.
That's it. Now, what you can do, Joel, I have found, like if you want to start a date, well, no, yours is not unlimited, so you have to be careful with it. So you're going to have to do on the half hour or the hour.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Helen, unmute yourself for just a second.
Present.
Yeah, did you get that information that I sent? Did that explain
Yes.
things for you? Okay, good.
It did. Thank
I wanted to
you.
make sure. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Lamb, we are ready when you're ready to start. Would you like for me to go into?
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to our Thursday evening coaching session. This is week 3. Time is quickly passing by. We have one more week that we will do coaching sessions on Thursday evening for a while. Then we will relax it for a while and give you time to work with your Zoom teams and other things that you've got to begin working with. However, that does not mean that if you need your coaches, that your coaches will not be available, and your instructors will always be there as well. So reach out to us after next week if there are issues beyond what you need on our Tuesday night class sessions. Tonight, we're going to do, based on some of the comments from students, we're going to ask Dr. Lamb if he will do a brief overview of some of what he talked about last week, because we said this is a lot and you can't get it all in one setting sometime. But hopefully you've had a chance to go into Taskstream, you've had to play with it, chance to play with it, look at it, and at least have an idea. But we've asked Dr. Lamb if he will do just a brief overview of Taskstream, and in addition to that, to talk about, again, the difference between the competency analysis in Blackboard and the competency folio in Taskstream. What are the differences? He's going to briefly show you again how to set up the competency folio, going through the process so that there are no questions. But Dr. Lamb, before we do that, can we do just a little bit of housekeeping things? Would you just speak briefly about the Turnitin process? I know that's been mentioned, but we've had some questions about that, and I think that we've had maybe one or two to go to that forbidden zone right now that we told them not to go to. So.
All right. Good evening and welcome. Let me share my screen.
Dr. Lamb, while you're talking about Turnitin, if you would also talk about the purpose of Turnitin, and if you would talk about plagiarism and student authenticity of their work.
Okay, so I'm actually in a clinical shell right now. I want to start out with tonight. I got some feedback from one of our CC1s who make visits, and they said that some of the students didn't know who their actual clinical coach to, person that works with them is. So let me cover that quickly. If you're in Dr. Stedman's C2, of course, your coach is Dr. Revis. If you're in Dr. Revis's C4, your coach is Dr. Stedman. If you're in Dr. Hamilton's C6, your coach is Dr. Crawford. And if you're in Dr. Crawford's C8 section, Dr. Hamilton is your coach. If you're in Dr. Stedman's C10, Dr. Revis is your coach. And if you're Dr. Hamilton's C12 coach is Dr. Tobias. Now, in your Blackboard shell for your class, when you click in to Blackboard, and I'll do that. When you go into Blackboard, and under my courses over here, you can see I've got hundreds, but you'll find your course. Let's say you're in Dr. Crawford's C8 section. You will see that you're in the C8, and all the materials will be there for your class. Also, you will have 3 courses that are listed under my courses. You'll have your 601 class shell. You'll have a 698 internship shell that we don't use. And then you'll have a clinical shell that will have the name of your clinical coach on it. For example, if you're in this C8 section with Dr. Crawford, your coach, of course, is Dr. Hamilton. And so you will see her clinical shell. And it will say Mel's Clinical Internship Hamilton. When you go in there, You will be able to access the same drop boxes, and you can work with your coach in that shell. That's where we work with our coaches, is in our clinical shell. It will say clinical on it, clinical and your coach's last name. So this one says Mel's Clinical Internship _ Hamilton. That would be for Dr. Crawford's students in his class. His coach is Dr. Hamilton. That's her clinical shell. They're all built out where you can work with them. So make sure you understand that you work in that clinical shell with your coach if you're working with your coach. But you should know who your coach is that's paired with your class, and you work in their clinical shell. You do not work in that internship cell, that 698 shell. There's nothing in it. The clinical shell is the one that's built out. And so if I go to users and groups, I move everything off my screen so I can get to it. You will see your name on this list. If you're in Dr. Hamilton's coaching section, your name will be on this list. You're in there. If you do not have a clinical shell, simply let your instructor know, and I will put you in one. I've already put everybody in them, but I might have missed somebody, or you might have fallen out. But you should have 3 shells: a 601 shell, a 698 shell, and a clinical shell. You work in your class 601 shell and in your clinical shell. You do not work in the 698 shell. As you can see, this is just a placeholder shell. It's not built out. That's just for, they have to assign you that so they can charge you the correct amount. We don't work in them. That's placeholder shell. All right, so that's the first bit of housekeeping that we have. Now, Turnitin. I'm going to go back to a class. I'll go to Dr. Stedman's shell, one of his shells now. All right, so you work through each of your tasks of the app cell. Task 1, Task 2, Task 3, Task 4, Task 5. When you get through Task 5 and your instructor has cleared it, your coach, your instructor have cleared that, you will compile all 5 into your final evidence narrative. It will be called App Cell Final Evidence Narrative. You'll put it in 2 places. You will put it in the Dropbox, your assignment Dropbox, for final evaluation, and then you will put it there once it has been cleared in for review. Now remember, the first place you put it, of course, is for review. And so once you have done that, once you have gotten your instructor review of Task 5 and you put it all together, you take that final evidence narrative, and again, you put it in 2 places. You put it in the assignment Dropbox, and you get your final grade there, and then you put it in the Turnitin check. It goes there. Now, the reason why it goes there and you get your final grade for that final evidence narrative there, you get your grade 100 points like everything else. The reason we use Turnitin is mainly to make sure that you have cited your references properly, so that we don't end up plagiarizing somebody else's work. But it will also tell us if you copied some other male student work from some other cohort. And so we have to check all these things, because guess what? When it goes to Taskstream for state grading, guess what the first thing they do is? They check it for originality. Now, we have certain metrics. We'll never see a 0 paper with zero repeated work. Generally on the app cell, because you've got tasks, prompts, directions, that's going to put you at about 35% already. So as long as you're under about 50%, you're good. But we're going to be able to look at that and see what needs to be fixed. Now, if you've copied somebody else's work and didn't cite them, then we're just going to have you cite the work. But if you copied another student's work, that's another problem altogether. So when you upload your work here, where it says view complete, you upload your final evidence narrative. That's all 5 tasks that have been approved by your coach and by your instructor. We do not put individual tasks in there, because when we put the final one in, it's going to show that that's repeat work. This is the one and done. This is for the final evidence narrative. That's why it says that. There's not one in here for tasks or prompts. And so we only do it one time and one time only. When we have all 5 tasks completed and put together in that final evidence narrative in one continuous paper that looks like we sat down and wrote it at one time. We do not turn individual tasks in. We turn our final evidence narrative that contains all 5 tasks in. We check
Dr. Lamb, may I say something about turn it in?
Go right ahead.
Just a reminder, you only have one opportunity to do turn it in. Instructors, we can go into turn it in at any time and check any work along the way. So please know, and what will happen, and I'm stressing this strongly, make sure that your work is your work. What will happen if we go in there and another person has already submitted work and it's not your work, it's going to tell us exactly where the work came from. It's going to give us the student's name. So, you know, we don't want anybody to get in trouble. So make sure your work is your work. And I won't say any more, Dr. Lamb, about that.
So again, the main thing is do not submit it more than one time. We can look at it along the way, but you have to upload it one time. You cannot check it as you go. We check it at the end. We only do it's a one, and then it'll be checked when it goes to Taskstream as well. But that's a different, that is a different platform, and so you having submitted it previously will not cause a problem there.
Right.
So you get one time here in Blackboard, and then it's automatically checked when it goes to Taskstream. But again, doesn't have to be 0 on the originality report. As long as you're under, we normally set these at around between 40 and 50, because again, you're using standard tasks and prompt and directions. Those are taken into account in the template that we give you. That will be repeated work, but the work that you add should be original, or if you have quoted other people, you should cite those sources.
Okay.
So make sure you understand that this work is going to get checked. We're going to check it so that we don't ever want work come back from state grading that's not being original. That would not go well. We can fix it on our end, but we can't fix it once it gets to Taskstream. Remember, we do all of our work in Blackboard. It only goes to Taskstream for final evaluation.
Okay. When you get a chance, somebody ask again before you start on the other, can you show us again where we upload task 1 to our clinical coach?
For your clinical coach, first thing, go to their shell. All right, let's say you're in Dr. Stedman's section, so you go to the one that says Mel's Clinical Internship Revis if you're in either one of Dr. Stedman's sections. Again, I have everybody's, and so you will only have one that says Mel Clinical Internship. All right, for AppSell Task for Review, you simply click on that AppSell Task 1 for Clinical Coach Review. Click on the Create Thread button and select the Browse My Computer button and upload the files containing your AppSell Task 1 draft for Clinical Coach Review. It's got the directions right there on it. You simply click on that, create thread, browse my computer, finds your task 1.
Dr. Lamb, while you're doing that, just a reminder, and Dr. Hamilton posted this, just a reminder, you can use us anytime, but it's not necessary for you to send it to your clinical coach unless there's a problem. Your instructor will let you know if you're having problems or you need additional assistance. you know, that is when it really needs to go to your clinical coach. So work with your instructor, you know, as it relates to that. But now we're always available, but don't just send it just to send it.
You know, the first step is to put your task one in and you do it the same way. Everything is the same. You do it that way. If you're in Dr. Stedman's class, you put your task one in there. If he says it's good, move on to task two, you move on. You only go to your coach when your instructor says, this needs extra help. You need some coaching help on this. And then and only then do you go to your coach, and they will help you. Your instructor will grade it to begin with and make sure that it's okay. And if it's okay, they may offer a couple of, you know, minor editing suggestions, and then you'll move on. Don't involve unnecessary steps. The coach is there to help you if you didn't get it the first time. You know, our purpose is for you to be successful. Sometimes a different person telling you a different way. Sometimes just somebody working with you more individually. And that's what the coaches are for, to work with you individually. But if everybody goes to the coach, it'll kind of bog down the process. Dr. Stedman's going to grade all your work on a 24-hour turnaround. And if he says move on, you don't have to go to your coach. You go to the next task. And if that one's good, you go to the next one. If that one's not, he may send you to your coach. But what keeps the chain moving, keeps the ball rolling is that you only get coached if you need it. If you don't need it, you just move right along. It's a way that we differentiate instruction. I know all of you are, you know, you all have a master's degree. You're at least master teachers, and some of you are already out of the classroom. Some of you are in administrative roles now. And everybody understands that everybody doesn't learn at the same time or at the same rate or the same way. And this is the way that we differentiate instruction, is to offer you coaching assistance. We can't change the rubrics. We can't change the task or the prompts. We can't change the rigor or the rubrics. The state sets those. You have to be able to get to that level of work. And so it's our job to get you there. And so your instructor will work with you. Your coach will work with you. If neither one of them are successful, they'll send you to me. That's a fate worse than death, but they'll send you to me. You don't want to have to do that, but that's an option. And I'll find a way. But we'll get you through it. But we can't differentiate the work. We have to differentiate the process. We can't change the work. The work is the work. And so that's why we offer these extra sessions, these coaching sessions. They'll work with you individually. They'll give you more support. That's the whole purpose, is to find a way for you to be successful. We know that you can be successful, or we wouldn't have taken you. You met the criteria to get in the program, which means you have the ability to be successful. It's up to us to find a way.
Okay, Morlisa, you asked a question. What you're confusing probably is you do have two coaches. Your clinical coach one would be Dr. Zayance. I would be your clinical coach two. She is actually doing the Zoom visit for the virtual visit, and you may not ever see her but that one time. But I will be with you the whole semester.
Okay, let me stop my share for a minute. All right, you have a clinical coach one using, and the reason why we designate them CC1 is they make the first initial contact. They are assigned to you proactively. That means they live near where you do. And prior to this semester, they would have come out to your school and visited you there. But obviously, we can't do that in the COVID era. Hopefully, by spring, we can start visiting again. But they are available to you every semester that you are in this program. They are available to meet with you to negotiate what's going on in your building. That's their role, not your evidences, not Taskstream or Blackboard. Their role is to negotiate that clinical experience between you and your school or your school principal. going well, that's their role, is to come out to your school and help you, or to do a Zoom with you and your principal. Sometimes we have folks who get in the program and people don't provide them the opportunities to grow and learn to get their clinical hours at their school. Again, that's a support system that we have. We won't just let you flounder and wait to the end of the semester. And when you come up and say, I didn't get but 15 hours of clinical work this semester, what am I going to do? You're going to let us know. You're going to let me know, and I'm going to get, or you're going to let your CC1 know, or I'm going to get in touch with your CC1 and say, either go out and visit with Karen. She's not being successful getting her hours at her school. She's got to get 80 every semester. So that's the backup plan. If you're not getting your 80 hours, is your CC1. The back plan, if you're not getting your evidence artifact work done, CC2. And again, we can assign Dr. Stedman to all of Dr. Revis's students because y'all will only ever meet virtually. We assign CC1. Why don't you give us the same person? Well, Dr. Stedman in Robinson County, in St. Paul's, he can't work with somebody who lives in Asheville. That won't work. Dr. Revis lives in Asheville, so she'll be your coach and she'll come out to see you. I cover a good many counties in Western North Carolina. I cover up to the mountains where Dr. Revis starts up in Henderson. I get Polk. In Rutherford, I get Cherokee and Spartanburg in South Carolina and down into Union. Dr. Robertson gets Columbia, South Carolina. Dr. Talent and Dr. Robertson get Charlotte area. Mr. Ramsey gets out in the northeastern part of North Carolina. Mr. Marie gets northwestern North Carolina down through the Triad. Dr. Z gets all of the coast of South Carolina. Dr. Whitaker gets the coast of North Carolina, the southeast coast of North Carolina, because that's where folks live. I also get the Lake Norman area because that's where I am tonight. I'm at my actual primary residence, but I also have a place in Western North Carolina, not far from the college, and so I can get both areas. We're the people who would come online and be with you, but we could come out and see you if we ever get to visit schools again, if you're having a problem with your 80 clinical hours. Everybody understands that everybody's got to get 80 clinical hours every semester. There's a problem with that. That's what your CC1 is for. If you're having problems with your evidences, that's what your CC2 is for. So you can see why is a quality program in that we have a support system for whatever ails you. It's ailed somebody else before you, and we have a system in place to address that issue or that problem. And so that's why you have a number of coaches. That's why you have a number of different shells, is it gives us different ways to work with you to get you where you need to be. In the end, this program is only valuable if you get what you need out of it. Dr. Crawford's giving me a hard time online. It's good to be old. All right, so I've seen a couple of issues with this. I think I know how to fix it. When you go on to your Zoom account, we're moving on to another issue that's popped up this week. When you go onto your Zoom account, down at the bottom, you should have a dashboard. When you log into Zoom, it'll have mute and stop video over on the left of your little dashboard down at the bottom. It'll have security and it'll have participants, chat, share screen, record. It has all of your little dashboards down at the bottom. If you'll click on participants, it will show everybody that's on there, who the host is and all those things. I know it doesn't pop up and show on my screen now, but you just have to follow me visually from my verbal directions. And it will have your name, like mine, it says Dale Lamb host. When you hover your mouse out at the end, it will say more. If you don't have on your account your first and last name, you need to change that. 95% of the folks do. I'm seeing Patrice Watson, Jill Winland, Jamal Crawford, Danny Stedman, Felicia. But I've also seen some, and we like to know who you are when you come to the sessions. And also, we've had some issues first time out with people doing their initial Zoom groups, and they said somebody came on. We didn't know who they was. It wasn't the name we were looking for, so we were scared. We thought somebody had broke into our session. More than likely, nobody's broke into your session, but I understand security, and I'm not making light of that. I'm not making light of that. So make sure that you change rename yourself to your first and last name so that you won't cause people to become paranoid and scared and get off Zoom. We've had that happen 2 times already where they thought somebody was breaking in because it wasn't the name that they were looking for. So make sure you have your first and last name on your Zoom account so that folks will know it's you when you join the, I mean, eventually they'll learn to recognize your face, but until we get things up and going here, make sure they can see your name. And that just puts everybody at ease when they can see your name when you come in. So again, dashboard under participants, click on it, you'll see your name, hover your mouse out to the right of your name, and you'll get a more. When you pop that up, it'll give you the opportunity to rename yourself and pop up on your screen when you join somebody's Zoom group. That's already, again, we've had 2 of those pop up already where they thought security had been breached. That's quite a serious thing about security, so make sure you do that. So we've covered the coaches, we've covered Zoom. I want to talk about the difference between competency analysis and competency folio. Competency analysis is the written analysis of how competent you are. Competency folio is where, again, you go and put the proof, that those artifacts that you generate. So let me share a screen. All right. So when you do competency analysis, it's simply task 5 of the app cell and task 4 of the app cell. So let me go and maybe pull a couple of those for you, and I will walk through how you do that. Let me go here. All right, here we go. Let's see what I've got here. I've got app cell. Okay, I'll open this one. See what I've got here. I'll move this stuff out of the way. Okay. And so when we get over here, let's see. All right, so here's task 5 of the app cell. So Kristen has written a competency analysis of communication, judgment, technology, creative thinking. And so what you would do is you would come in here and you would do I'd copy that, file, new, blank document, paste. All right, so I've got 12 competency analysis done when I did my app cell. All right. And then when I do my app tell, again, Kristen did her app tell. And when we get to the end, we're going to find the other 9. Here are the other 9 for a total of 21 for this semester. It's task 5 of the app cell, task 4 of the app tail. I'm going to copy these. And I'm going to do a file, save as. "21 COMPETENCY and I'm gonna put my name. And I'm gonna save that document. Now, at the end of the semester, when I have finished both my app cell and my app tail, I'm going to go to Taskstream. And remember, Taskstream is www.taskstream.com. I would use Chrome. Don't use Edge or Internet Explorer. Use Chrome to get the full functionality. And so it's www.taskstream.com. I put my username and password, which is your GardenWeb email username and password. You switch over to author. And school administration fall 2020, that would be you. I would come to competency analysis. Complete this form. And I would mark myself met on all 21. Radio dot in each of the circles. And it's going to ask you at the end a couple of, it has, you know, are you competent in your knowledge of instruction and knowledge of assessment? And you tell them you are. Save and return. Admit that. Get out of my way. All right. So I have filled out the form. Now I'm going to go to the attachments. Upload from computer. Add files. "21 competency analysis from me," open. Upload, close. Save and return. I've already filled out my form, so now I'm going to submit my work. And you are done. That is competency analysis. How long did that take me? 5 minutes or less? Somebody should have put the watch on me. I might have beat my all-time. That's how simple competency analysis is. That's all there is. You create a document, you upload the document, you fill out the form, you tell us that you are competent in all areas, you have the document right there to prove it, you're good to go. Competency analysis is done. We don't even make you copy and paste all of them in the individual boxes like we used to. We now let you create a document and upload it, make it even quicker. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever that competency analysis is done for this semester. And you won't have to do that again until 6:05. You're done. You won't even have to do it next semester. We just have to make sure that you know what you're doing, and then write your competency analysis for the entire program, basically, at the end. So this is just a check to make sure you understand you know what you're doing. That's competency analysis. It goes in your DRF portfolio along with your app cell and your app tail this semester, and your School of Ed dispositions. As I told you last week, You can go ahead and do those now. I probably saw about 40 of those come by the board this week. So go ahead and fill that out now. That's a pre-assessment of where you are right now with your dispositional behavior. There's nothing to study. You just go in and assess yourself. Again, if you think you exceed expectations at this point, you have to tell us why. If you don't, if you're at one of the categories less, you just click the button and go on about your business. Let me show you that again. School of Ed dispositions, complete the form. Learner development, you read those, the criteria, and you rate yourself from satisfactory to exceeds. If you click on exceeds, you better tell me why. If you check one of the first three, you can just check it and go on. But if you expect for us to rate you as exceeds already, you got to tell us why. That doesn't mean you don't exceed. You just have to tell us why. Okay. And then save and return and submit. And those will be your Taskstream requirements in your DRF portfolio this semester. AppSell, competency analysis. You just saw me do it. Task 5 of AppSell. Task 4 of the AppTel. Copy paste. Make one document up. Fill out the form. Say you've met them all. Save, return, submit. School of Ed dispositions, you rate yourself. Don't have to put anything other than the dot, the radio dot. If you are asking to be rated as exceeds, then you have to tell us why. Simple. You click on the buttons, save and return, submit. Those are the 4 you owe me this semester in your Taskstream DRF portfolio. Questions about the DRF portfolio?
I do have a question for you.
Yes.
This is Whitley. I had a question in regards to the email confirmation from the principal for our PLC creation. I believe last class you had mentioned something about uploading that somewhere within Taskstream.
Artifact, and yeah, that's an artifact that's going to go in your competency folio that we're going to talk about next. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So if you just watched your 2 evidences, the 5 tasks of the AppSell, the 4 tasks of the AppTel, put them together, final evidence narrative, Turnitin check, good to go. You'll get a message from Turnitin that says submit the Taskstream. You come in, you simply click the button, AppSell, attachments. Again, upload my computer, add file, find your AppSell, final evidence narrative, upload and close, save and return. It's slowed down on me. And then submit. Save and return, submit my work. Just that simple. AppSell, AppTel, competency analysis. You just saw me do that. Task 5, task 4, make a document, click the button, School of Ed disposition. And that will be the end. That will be the end of your Taskstream DRF portfolio work. Now, as Whitley said, the next thing we worry about, and this again is at the end of the semester, you can do it as you go, but it won't be due until then, is you will go in and create a competency folio. You only have to create one. If you've already created one, you don't have to do it again. And I'm going to walk you through that one more time, and that's where you put your artifacts like email permission from the principal to form a PLC. All right, so when you sign into Taskstream, this is it. Do not go into a DRF. You'll only have one, and it will say school admin. Your screen will look like this. It will say school admin add-on fall 2020. DRF, direct response folio. Do not go in that direct response folio. Your competency folio is not in there. It is a web folio. So you click on folios and web pages. Now, again, there is a video in your class shell that says how to set up your competency folio. It's only about 2.5 minutes long, but you can watch it, but I'm going to do this again. Now, if you already did this last week, don't do it again. We only want one. You don't do one every semester. You don't do one every, you do one. Uno, one time. I'll do one that says spring 2020. You just type that out, create new. I'll do one that says spring. Create new. Select template category. Custom templates designed by your learning community. Select the template. Competencies for 21st century leaders. That's the only one you should use. Continue. Got to move on. Okay, and so then what I'm going to do is I'll do a butterfly tonight. Apply. Preview. There it is. If I can get all this stuff moved out of the way. There it is. Then I click on all folios and web pages. And you'll only have one. I've got to sort through these till I find mine that I just made.
Dr. Lamb, will it not automatically name it Fall 2020?
Nope, you got to type it in.
You got to type it in. Okay. I just want to make sure that.
Here's the one I just made.
I got you. Okay.
Now I'm on edit content page. I click on communication. This is what Whitley was asking me. This is where I would, if I've got a screenshot of the email permission that my principal gave me to form a PLC, I'd go to text and image. And I can write in something about it if I want to. And then I can, once I've done that, I save and return. And then I go to I'm on the text section. I can then do an attachment, upload from my computer, add file, go to my screenshot. See what I've got here. If I've got something that looks like an email, doesn't really matter. So this is my email. Open, upload, close, save and return. And then I click on communication. And there it is. And if I'd have written some narrative, it would have been right above it. And then when we go in, the narrative says, this is the email permission from my principal. That's all it has to say. Do not write war and peace here. You're not arguing for competency here. You're showing us an example of a communication competency, an artifact. I open that up and there it is. There's my email permission from my principal. It's just that simple.
And we can input these all along. We don't have to wait.
That's a great question. You can put these in anytime you want to. You can go to your competency folio. It's your, remember, this is your, we're going to have to submit it to the state. We're going to move it at the end We're going to move it over to your DRF portfolio in 605 when we get there. But before we do that, you're going to publish and share it. See this button up here? This is your folio of the work that you've done to show a prospective employer. And there's another reason too. If you highlight the digital competencies, you can take this folio and your transcript of your class, and you can get your digital teaching and learning renewal credits for your teaching license as well. So this is your folio. You can put whatever you want in it. You don't have to just have 3 artifacts under communication. That's the minimum. You got to have 3, and they have to be, and it tells you one of them has to be AppSell, one from the SOP, and one open-ended. But you could put 15 in there if you wanted to. This just 3 is the minimum. By state requirement, you've got to have 3 artifacts for each one of these 21 competencies. Now, again, this is not a place where you write us something or put a big long narrative, or you're not arguing for competence. You're showing us competency here. Competency analysis is where you make your argument, a narrative argument for competency. This is where, if you are actually competent, you will have an artifact that was generated from doing that competence that you told us that you did. So this folio, this competency folio only has artifacts and very little narrative. Again, go back and look at the example that will be in your class shell as well.
Dr. Lamb, if they're having problems with their Taskstream account or issues with it, will you tell them who they need to make contact with?
Wendy Turbyfield, W. Turbyfield. Copy me.
And Wendy works in the office where Dr. Lamb works.
Yes, she does. She certainly does. And so when you get done, your competency folio is going to look like this. Communication. Again, one from the AppSell, one open-ended, and one from the SOP. She did the three minimum, and there's the actual artifacts themselves. These are the artifacts. She just explained what they were. She highlighted digital. She got her credit for these. On some of them, she did more than 3. See, there's one she did 5. Some of them she only did 3. She did 2, 4, 5 on that one. She did 3 on time management. That's, I'm sure, not coincidental. She did 3, but she did the 3 minimum she was supposed to do. Follow the directions. When you click on these, they'll give you the directions, where they got to come from and what digital competency, if there is one, that it has to satisfy. So read the directions. Very simple stuff.
Somebody asked again, could you show them how to do a template again? But also in Blackboard, you've got the video in there that shows them how to do that.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Again, when you sign in to Taskstream, it's going to pop up with a DRF. Don't go into that's the main thing. Don't go into the DRF. Go to folios and web pages. Type in a name. And create new. Template created by your learning community, custom template. Always pick 21st century leaders. Continue. And then you pick the theme that you like. We'll get this one, whatever this one is this time. A smiling man. Apply. Preview. There it is. We know that our title is what we wanted it to be. We see what it's going to look like. We can close that. we go back to all folios and web pages. We click on that and it will show us, we'll find ours that we just made. There should only be one. I have to find mine. There's mine with the smiling man that says again, and there it is. It's just that simple. And then click on each one that gives you the directions. You got buttons. Just pick the right button. And you add what you want to add. Have fun with it. You can actually do subsections underneath this, create more under it. You can't get it wrong. It's yours. You can add another section to that. I mean, you can add subsections underneath each one of them. You might want to do multiples from the app cell or multiples open-ended. You can, you're not going to get it wrong. It's yours as long as you have the minimum stuff. Be as creative as you want to be. We've had some. I bet I could find Chris Burrian still.
And Dr. Lamb, while you're looking for that, just a reminder again, in Blackboard, if you go under your video library, that is where you'll find Dr. Lamb's video on everything he's just talked about. And also there's resources in there. Dr. Hamilton has created, and I think it was a PowerPoint, but she's got good information on there that goes along. It almost narrates what Dr. Lamb is talking about in his video step by step.
Will feedback be given in Taskstream, or do we need to submit it somewhere before we put it here to get feedback on our artifacts?
You press comments. It's a good question. I'm going to get back to that one in just a second. That's going to be the last thing. How do you get feedback on your competency folio along the way? You can request comments, and that's what I'm going to the reviewer right now. That was spring 17. Let me find that. Spring 17. Let me see.
And Joy, that is a good question. And when Dr. Lamb gets there, just a reminder, if you're in my two classes, that means that Dr. Revis is going to give you the comments. If you're in Dr. Revis's class, I'm going to give you the comments. And the same thing with Dr. Hamilton and the two that's working with her, vice versa, as Dr. Lamb explained at the beginning of the class.
Okay. I'm going to pull that one up. All right. So now, when you're in your competency folio, all right, let me get one. When I submit, I've got one submitted. After I've uploaded one, a button magically appears up here at the top. It says request comments. Only after I put something in. Now, if you're going to put 10 different artifacts in, go ahead and put them in. You notice once you put that first one in, that button stays after that. And put all 10 of them in, and then when you put all 10 of them in, if you want to just do one, that's fine. But to keep from flooding the coach's email boxes, once you put a communication in, and you're just going to do one, or if you go put 10 in and you wait for the 10th one, hit the request comments button and tell us where you put them. So that one, it will check communication and say I put 5 more in. Continue. It's going to default to your coach. Obviously, I have everybody's name, but it's going to default to your coach. You may have to check the box in front of them. So let's say Dr. Revis's class. So Dr. Stedman would be your coach. If his name's not already checked, just simply check his name and continue. And it says comments, and he'll get an email to go in and check your competency folio for your artifact. But again, I implore you, if you're putting several in at once, wait to the end and check you request comments, check maybe 5 or 10 boxes. He'll get one email rather than 10. What really gets you is like late at night, about every minute or two, ding, 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 your email goes off. And you keep running back to your email, and you wonder, when are they going to stop? But that's okay. But it's better if you're going to do multiples than just request comments one time on multiple competencies, so that we don't. Because every time you put one in, if you do it single, we're going to get an email to go and look at that folio. Now, I have it set up where your coach gets it automatically to go in and click the button. Now, it may give you the option to pick your instructor as well. I prefer that you just simply go to your coach, but if you want your instructor to see it, that's okay. But I have it set up automatically. Hopefully you won't have to do anything other than hit the button, and your coach will already be checked. It may give you the option to also add your instructor.
And just a reminder, Dr. Lamb, we will not know if they have submitted something if they do not request comments. So please don't forget that pivotal step of requesting comments, or we will not know it's there.
And it's okay to let us know too, even when you do, because when you start this process, we don't automatically at this stage go to this place every day because we're not at that place. So once you get started, just send us an email and just say, I have begun to put work into the competency folio for your review, just making you aware, and that will prompt us to make sure that we go there as well.
Okay. Now, as a quirk of Taskstream, and it's just one of those quirks, I have it set up where your coach and your instructor can look at your DRF portfolio anytime they want to. They can go into Taskstream and look and see what you've done, what's been added in there at any time. They don't comment on your DRF portfolio. That's just for evaluation. But they can go at any time and see if you've submitted something. However, they can only go to your competency folio after you have requested comments. It is not available to them or to me until you request comments that first time. Now, after that, they can go back and look at it anytime they want to. But until you request comments, which takes your folio from private to public for them or for all of us, we can't go in and look at it. And only your coach, your instructor, and me, Taskstream coordinator, can look at it. So it stays private among us, but after you request comments the first time, so that is, you need to put a competency in there, an artifact, just one, and request comments and make sure the process is working. And after that, your coach can go in and look at it whenever they need to. But again, as Dr. Stedman said, they're not going to go look unless you put something new in there. And you should request comments, as Dr. Hamilton said, so they'll know to go and look. It's not something they just review on a regular basis, like Blackboard. So that should get it. Again, W Turbyfill, TURBYFILL, if you're having problems with your account. As far as I know, there's only one account that I have not created. I still can't, and I've got Wendy working on that now. If you got an email from Watermark and it's more than 48 hours old, she'll have to get you another email from them for you to activate your account. You have to, first thing has to happen is we buy the account, Wendy sends you an email, or she has an email sent from Watermark after she purchased the account. You have to respond back, activate your account, then I can go in and enroll you and put you in the right places and make all the right choices and set up your portfolios and do all those things. I've already done all that except for maybe one of you. If you're having a problem, contact Wendy, copy me, because it may be something that I can fix. Generally, it's we don't have an account. Your account didn't go through for whatever reason. And so I do Taskstream coordination for our program. We're bigger than everybody else, and so I do ours. It'd be more than one person can do to do ours and everybody else's. All right, questions you have for me? So, are we on again next week, Dr. Stedman?
Yes, sir. And you're the guest speaker again. We're going to go into EVOS next week.
Oh boy!
And our instructors, and I'll get with our sitting principals. I'm going to want them to participate as well as sitting principals, how they use EVOS. So Dr. Crawford and Dr. Hamilton and Dr. Tobias, if you would go ahead and be thinking about it, and I'll communicate with you. You know how you as a sitting principal use EVOS in your school, and Dr. Lamb does an excellent job just showing you the whole EVOS system and what it is.
I will work with you on the regression equation, which is EVOS. It originates from an analysis of variance, and that is translated into a regression analysis with an algorithm. And so that sounds high level, it is, but it's really simple once you understand it. You have to know this stuff, but the whole point of me covering EVOS next week is for you to understand and be able to explain to teachers that work for you that it's not an unfair system, that it does not place an undue burden on teachers, that everything else is controlled for, and the only thing we're really measuring with EVOS is teacher input, is how much added value teacher brings, and we can isolate that value with EVOS, and I will show you the calculus behind that, and then our schools will show you their accounts at their schools and how they use it at their schools. My job is to explain to you so you can explain to those teachers, and hopefully you aren't one of them that thinks that it's a rigged system or it's biased against you or somebody. My perspective is to teach you so that you can explain to faculty members, this is the most legitimate way to find out how good you are, how much value you add. And it's not dependent upon the children that you have. You don't have to have the best and the brightest in order for you to meet growth with kids. And so that's what we're going to cover next week. And that's one of our favorites.
It is. They'll really you'll enjoy that session a lot. Okay.
It's kind of the key to what we are and what we do as school administrators. That's why we cover it in this fourth and final session of the first quarter of the course, is that we've got to get you to start changing your lens from the teacher side of the desk to the administrator side of the desk. And this is one of the first steps that you have to take is to understand EVOS and how performance matters, and how it doesn't discriminate against anybody, that we can make growth with all children. And so it's kind of the heart of who we are and what we do. So we'll cover that next week. I'm looking forward to it.
And it can be used in any district, any state? Doesn't matter? Okay.
That is correct. That is correct. All right. So, Dr. Stedman, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank everybody for your time and attention.
Yes, it's time to thank you. We had a great group. Had close to 80 students with us tonight, Dr. Lamb. That is a great group tonight. We thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention. We're going to sign off now because it is after 8 o'clock, and we try to only keep you an hour, but it's been an hour well spent. So thank you, Dr. Lamb, for all of the
Thank you
presented, and we look forward to next week. We'll see you on Tuesday night.
All right, and thanks to all the faculty that came tonight.
Yes,
appreciate faculty.
Everybody was here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.